Started. Okay, we resume. So, Maronite Catholic Church is the unique among the Eastern churches, and it is the entirely Catholic with no corresponding Orthodox Church, because it is never broken union with Rome. The Maronite rite is of West Syrian origin, but has been influenced by the East Syrians and Latin traditions. The Eucharist is a variation of the Syriac liturgy of St. James. Notably, this church maintains the Eucharistic narrative in Aramaic, the actual language of Christ. So, Eucharistic narrative, no? Last Supper, yeah, they preserve that. Same words that Jesus used in Aramaic, so they preserve that same thing here. So, the influence is there. From East Syrian, West Syrian, both sides, it is influenced. The Maronites trace their origin to a group of disciples of the hermit called Saint Maron. Saint Maron. That's what Maronite, no? Maronites. And their founding of a great monastery midway between Aleppo and Antioch. They were fervent supporters of the Chalcedonian definition of two natures of Christ. What are those two natures of Christ? Humanity and divinity. So they are the strong supporters. And in 532, a synod in Constantinople made the monastery of Bet Maron the head of the entire monastic community in northern Syria. So now that is named after him. The church is named after him, Maron. The Maronites suffered brutal persecutions at the hands of non-Chalcedonian Orthodox, while the Muslim Arab rulers of Syria punished all contacts with the Byzantines. When the Byzantine see of Antioch fell vacant, the Maronites proclaimed their own bishop as Patriarch of Antioch and all the East. Unfortunately, hostile relationships with the Arabs and rival Christians drove the Maronites to the isolated and remote mountains of Lebanon. So both from Christian side, Orthodox Christians, other side Arabs, both of them were against this group. That's why they were restricted to Lebanon. In 1999, in the year 1099, the Crusaders received a warm welcome. Crusaders, no, going from west to east, they received a warm welcome from the Maronites, and their patriarch attended the Fourth Lateran Council in 1215, receiving formal Latin acceptance as the head of the Maronite Church. Well, while with the founding of the Maronite College in Rome in 1584, the church became quite Latinized. With the encouragement of the Vatican II brought so many changes in the church, no? Recognizing their own particular churches, their own traditions, their own liturgies. So the Maronite Church revised its missal to return to many of the traditions and customs that had been lost. Went back. Since then, the Patriarch has ordered all the clergy to wear the original Syriac vestments. Patriarch also started asking them to wear original Syriac vestments and has instituted several other Syriac reforms. Means what they left, again they took back those traditions. Now we move on to the next church, that is Chaldean Catholic Church, which is East Syriac Rite, Year of Reunion. Where is it? It is in Iraq, Baghdad. And these are 23 jurisdictions, 23 bishops. The Assyrian or Catholic Church, Chaldean Church, was established in Edessa in the 1st century. After the area was conquered by the Persians, the church organized itself around a Catholic patriarch in the Persian royal capital at Seleucia, Ctesiphon. While Christians were persecuted by the pagan Roman Empire, they were welcomed in the Persian Empire. The church was represented at the Council of Nicaea, but not at later ecumenical councils. Once the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, the Persian Christians needed to avoid suspicion as Roman collaborators. See, religion and politics. No? Religion and politics. The Chaldeans always favored the Antiochian school of Christology. Christology. Okay, it's not that. So Antiochian Christology, school of Christology, they always favored and welcomed the influx of Nestorian Christians who were both condemned by the Third Ecumenical Council of Ephesus and expelled by Emperor Zeno. Unofficially, they accepted the Council of Chalcedon as a vindication of Antiochian theology. The church was very active missionary force and expanded into India, Tibet, China, Mongolia, and perhaps even Korea and Philippines. This activity continued even after its Mesopotamian homeland was conquered by the Muslim Arabs. Indeed, it was nearly annihilated by the Mongol invasions. When the Emperor Resna converted to Christianity in the 4th century, St. Athanasius of Alexandria ordained the bishops for Ethiopians. Later in 1480, those who opposed the Council of Chalcedon fled to Ethiopia from Rome, Constantinople and Syria and evangelized the pagans they found there also. From the time of Athanasius, Ethiopian bishops were routinely appointed by the Coptic Patriarch. Okay, all those history will leave out. But then Catholic missionary activity resumed during the Italian occupation of Eritrea and Ethiopia. But the current structure of the Ethiopian Catholic Church wasn't established until 1961. So it was also a very ancient church. But only thing was that with the Italian occupation of this Ethiopia, this missionary activity started being continued. Sorry. Okay. Anyway. In 13th century, due to Dominican and Franciscan activity in the region, there were several individual conversions of bishops and a few brief flirtations with reunification. Unfortunately, nothing lasting came about. However, in 1551, after one prominent family dominated the Chaldean church and elected a 12-year-old as patriarch, a group of concerned bishops elected their own patriarch. You see that? A group of concerned bishops elected their own patriarch and sent him to Rome to arrange a union with the Catholic Church. See that how the differences came. Their overtures were accepted by the Pope Julius III in 1553, creating the Chaldean Catholic Church, now centered in Baghdad. Okay, we move on. Actually, from this Chaldean Church, I think from this same rite comes our Malabar, Syro Malabar. So that's the next one. We're going to see that next one. See, this is Syriac, Syro Malabar Catholic Church, Major Archiepiscopate Church. That means head of the church is Major Archbishop, is the head of this church. East Syriac, year of reunion, 1599, during the Synod of Dayampar. Then main capital, seat, is in Ernakulam Angamali, Kerala, India, Cathedral of Our Lady. Recently I visited in month of January. I went to Ernakulam so for some purpose, for some meeting, and there I saw just side by side Ernakulam, our Latin Cathedral, and Syro Malabar Cathedral. Both churches are side by side only. Very nice to see, no? How united they are, having two churches in the same. Well, the first Christians in India were evangelized by the Apostle Thomas in what is now the state of Kerala. For most of their history, they were in communion with the Chaldean Assyrian Church. Indian Christians first encountered the Portuguese in 1498, when they warmly received the representatives of the Church of Rome, whose special status they continue to acknowledge despite long isolation. Sadly, the Portuguese didn't initially accept the legitimacy of Malabar Church, and in 1599, Latinizations were imposed regarding appointments of Portuguese bishops, changes in the liturgy, Roman vestments, clerical celibacy, and the Inquisition. All these things were imposed by these Portuguese in the Malabar Church. In 1653, after years of bitterness and tension, the most Indian Christians severed their union with Rome. Again, they started severed their union, means blocks. Pope Alexander, alarmed, Pope Alexander VII sent Carmelites to India to repair the situation. And most of the Christians eventually returned to full communion with Catholic Church. So they played the role of bringing them back to Catholic Church, OCDs. In 1934, Pope Pius XI initiated a process of liturgical reform to restore the historic Syriac nature of the Latinized Syro-Malabar Church. Unfortunately, tension with the Latin Church remains regarding the establishment of Syro-Malabar jurisdictions in other parts of India where Latin dioceses already exist. So now you know Shamshabad, Visakhapatnam. Okay, fine. Now we move on to the next church, that is Syrian Catholic Church. This is patriarchal church. West Syriac tradition they follow. In Syria is the main seat, Damascus. Antioch was one of the ancient centers of Christianity, ranking third in primacy after Rome and Alexandria. When the Council of Chalcedon's teachings were rejected by large numbers in the rural areas of his jurisdiction, Jacob Bardai, the bishop of Edessa, ordained several bishops to carry on the faith of those who had parted from the council. This church, labeled Jacobite, continued to use the Antiochian West Syrian rite when the urban Antioch adopted the Byzantine rite. With the conquest of the Persians, the Syrian church was free to develop along the lines parallel to that of the Syrian church, with 103 dioceses extending into India, Afghanistan, Turkestan, China, etc. Like their rival Assyrian church, most churches and monasteries were destroyed by Mongol invasions. Syrian Orthodox bishops warmly received the Crusaders and discussed union with Rome. But while they attended the Council of Florence and agreed to union, nothing was materialized. Jesuit and Capuchin missionaries were very successful, however, and many Syrians were received into communion with Rome. When the patriarchate fell vacant in 1662, the Catholic party was able to elect one of its own as patriarch. Despite this small victory, the Ottoman Empire favored the Syrian Orthodox and forced the Syrian Catholics underground. Syrian Catholics again went back. Provoking yet another schism, the Syrian Orthodox Holy Synod elected Metropolitan Michael Jarway of Aleppo as patriarch in 1782. Shortly after he was enthroned, though, he shocked the faithful by declaring himself a Catholic. He declared himself soon after election, and he surprised everybody, shocked everybody. As a metropolitan, he shocked everybody by declaring himself a Catholic. Then what became? All of them became Catholics. See, with one was had this in union means entire church also is in the union with the Catholic Church. Okay. Now we have yet another church in Indian territory. Is Siramalankara. This is Major Episcopate. 1930 came in union with us. The church was founded by the East Syrian Rite Syro Malabar Christians that rejected the Portuguese Latinizations. As a group, they were not welcomed back in their former Chaldean Assyrian church. In 1665, non-Chaldean Syrian Orthodox agreed to send them a bishop on the condition that they agree to accept non-Chalcedonian Christology and follow the West Syrian Rite instead of East Syrian Rite. In the 18th century, there were 4 formal attempts to reconcile the Catholic and Malankara Orthodox Syrian churches, all of which failed. In 1926, 5 bishops who were opposed to the jurisdiction of the Syrian Orthodox Patriarch in India opened negotiations with Rome. They had asked only that their liturgy be preserved and that their bishops be allowed to retain their own dioceses. In response, Rome only required that the bishops make a profession of faith. That's all. Rome asked for it. That's all. This instigated a movement of faithful into new Syro Malankara Church. So 1930 they came back. Okay. Now we have churches of Byzantine Rite, Greek, Constantinopolitan, no? Constantinople. Yeah. There are so many churches we saw in that, no? Now we'll see one each. The Byzantine liturgical tradition is highly stylized form of the Antiochian Rite developed for the imperial church based in Constantinople. After the Latin Rite, it is the most widely used rite in the world. After Latin Rite. At the Council of Chalcedon, the dioceses of Thrace, Pontus and Asia were absorbed in order to legitimize Constantinople as the see of Saint Andrew, the brother of Peter. Currently, there are 16 Eastern Orthodox churches and 15 Eastern Catholic churches that use Byzantine Rite. Very many churches use this. Now the first one we see is the Melkite Greek Catholic Church, Patriarchal Church, Byzantine Rite as we know. It is also in Damascus, Syria. Founded as the Antiochian See of Peter. It was here that the followers of Jesus were first called Christians. Antioch, no? Christians. The term Melkite comes from the Syriac word for king and was originally used to refer to those within the patriarchates of Alexandria, Antioch and Jerusalem who accepted the Council of Chalcedon. With Jesuit, Capuchin and Carmelite missionary activity in the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Antioch in the mid-17th century, the Antiochian Church became polarized with the pro-Catholic party centered in Damascus and the anti-Catholic party in Aleppo. The pro-Catholic party elected a patriarch in 1724 who was recognized by Pope Benedict XIII. In response, Constantinople excommunicated the Catholic patriarch and appointed a Greek as Orthodox Patriarch of Antioch. While the Ottoman Empire was very hostile to Catholic Melkites, the church continued to grow because of the Orthodox Patriarch of Antioch was entirely subordinate to Turks. On a positive note, in 1995, the Antiochian Orthodox and Melkite Catholic churches agreed to work towards healing this 1724 schism. They wanted to work. So that's about Melkite Church. Now we see Italo-Albanian Catholic Church. This is the other church, which means it doesn't come under patriarchal churches. The rank is lowest rank in the church. We said no, 4 ranks. 4 ranks. First one, highest rank is patriarchal churches. Second one is major episcopal churches. Third one is metropolitan churches. The rest, the other church sui juris. Other churches sui juris. Whenever you say any Eastern church, you should always use that sui juris church. Okay. Why? Because sui juris means, sui means sui. Have you heard about suicide? What does it mean? Self. Sui, oneself, isn't it? Cedere means to stop, stopping oneself. So that's what suicide, isn't it? Sui means by oneself, isn't it? Juris means jurist, law, legal. That means they govern by themselves, their own law is there. Okay, that's what sui juris churches. Italo Albano, 1794. From the earliest period of Christianity, southern Italy and Sicily had strong connections with Greece and followed the Byzantine traditions. Despite this fact, as part of the Latin Patriarchate, the Italo-Albanian Church was always been in union with Rome. Large numbers of Orthodox Albanians fled to this region when their country was conquered by Muslims, and interestingly enough, in 1553, the Italo-Albanian Metropolitan Archbishop was confirmed by the Patriarch of Constantinople with papal authorization. Thus, the Italo-Albanians have never formally broken communion with the Orthodox Church. Let me have. Excuse me. This you can edit. So much dried that it's not going inside it. Okay. Now we have Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. This is major archiepiscopate in Ukraine. The Ukrainians first received the Christian faith by way of Constantinople. Metropolitan Isidore of Kiev attended the Council of Florence and agreed to union between Catholics and Orthodox, but the union was ultimately rejected. In 1569, Jesuits began working for a local union between Catholics and Orthodox as a way of reducing Protestant influence. The Orthodox, for their part, favored such a union to preserve their Byzantine traditions at a time when Polish Latin Rite Church was expanding. A synod of Orthodox bishops in 1595 proclaimed a reunion between Rome and the Metropolitan of Kiev. After similar moves in 1692 and 1700, 2/3 of Ukrainians had become Catholic. Okay, all these things are there. That's in history. We move on to the next one, that is Ruthenian Greek Catholic Church, which is called Metropolitan Church, Metropolitanate. It has its seat in Pittsburgh, USA. See this, USA. Nearly all Transcarpathian Ruthenians are Rusin Orthodox, formally united with Rome in 1646. Russian ethnic identity remains closely tied to the Byzantine Catholic Church. As a result, they were viciously persecuted and forced into the Russian Orthodox Church by Imperial Russia. Later, the Soviets attempted to wipe out all Russian national identity by declaring them to be either Orthodox, Russian, or Ukrainian. But they remain firm. Next we see Romanian Greek Catholic Church. This is major Archiepiscopate Church. The Apostle Andrew was chosen to carry the gospel to Scythia, in what is now is called Romania. This Byzantine church is notable in that it exists within a predominantly Latin culture. Romanian is a Romance language directly descended from the language of the Roman soldiers and settlers. So coming from there. Naturally, Romania being in Europe, naturally they are more influenced by the Latin Church. Romanian delegates attended the Council of Constance in 1414 and signed the Decree of Union at the Council of Florence. Unfortunately, in 1744 there was a popular movement back to orthodoxy following violations of religious and civil rights and had been guaranteed by the union with Rome. Under communism, the church was suppressed and merged into Romanian Orthodox Church. In 1989, 3 secretly ordained Catholic bishops emerged. Since then, there has been considerable tension between Orthodox over the return to Romanian Catholic Church property. We move on to the next one. Greek Byzantine Catholic Church. The Greek Byzantine Catholic Church, the Greek Orthodox Church is virulently opposed to the existence of this small church. Even today, Orthodox Church is against this. Indeed, the situation is such that it's illegal for Byzantine Catholic priests to dress like Orthodox clergy in Greece because they are not Orthodox Christians. The few Greek Catholics here are served by celibate priests who have transformed from the Latin Church. In the Latin Church they went and then they started serving the Greek Catholics. So sometimes, that's why now we say, among the churches there is a communion among these churches. Suppose if they don't have their own clergy, so Latins or other churches, they come to their rescue and extend the sacraments. Communion, penance, anointing of the sick. These are the things normally. Eucharist, then this penance, then anointing of the sick. These are the 3 main sacraments which are always shared among the churches when they don't have their own clergy, their own church. Croatia and Serbia, Greek Catholic, all these are other churches. They are small groups. Okay, that's why they are on the 4th rank. In 1611, a Byzantine vicar, subordinate to the Latin bishops, was appointed for Serbian Orthodox who fled from the Muslim Turks. See how much invasions took place because of which they were under threat. In 1777, Rome created an independent eparchy for all Byzantines in Croatia under Austrian rule. Approximately 50% of this church is ethnically Russian. Russian means Romanian. Romanian we studied, no? That is the one. The Bulgarian Greek Catholic Church. This is also just other churches, eparchy. Eparchy, we will read that one. We will come to know what are the terms. Eparchy means diocese. In Latin terms, it is diocese. So that's why there is one bishop, one jurisdiction in Bulgaria. Bulgaria was often in dispute with between Rome and Constantinople, but it fell under the jurisdiction of Constantinople in 870 at the 8th Ecumenical Council. Wanting independence from Constantinople, the Bulgarians negotiated union with Rome in 1861, but most eventually returned to the Orthodox. Though they tried, most of them went back to Orthodox Church. This was the only Byzantine Catholic Church not officially suppressed under communism, perhaps because Pope John the 23rd was once a papal emissary to Bulgaria. John the 23rd, who was the one? Who was he? What was his contribution to the Catholic Church? John the 23rd? Pope John the 23rd. What was his contribution to the Catholic Church? Very, very significant. Vatican II. Vatican II. So that time, see that communism, they never suppressed, because he himself was once upon a time as he was the papal emissary, means ambassador. Yeah, like nuncio to Bulgaria, means between the government of Bulgaria and the Vatican. Between these two, he was like ambassador. So that's why they respected him, and then they did not suppress this Bulgarian church. Okay. Next, Slovak Greek Catholic Church. It's metropolitan. In 1646, the Union of Uzhhorod was accepted in what is now Eastern Slovakia. After communism fell, most of the confiscated ecclesial property was returned to the Catholic Church. In America, Slovaks are not distinguished from Ruthenians or Russians. Russians means, I said it just now, no? Romanians. Yeah, next one. Hungarian Greek Catholic Church. This is in Hungary. A Greek monk named Herotus from Constantinople was consecrated the first bishop of Hungary around 950 AD. As the cracks of schism grew between Latins and Greeks, the Byzantine Rite Hungarians remained in commune with the Serbian Orthodox Metropolitan. But after a number of union agreements, most of the Orthodox became Byzantine Catholic. In the 18th century, a group of Hungarian Protestants decided to become Catholic, but chose to enter the Byzantine Catholic Church instead of the Latin Church. While Greek had been the liturgical language, in 1900, Pope Leo XIII approved the use of Hungarian liturgy. Now we have 21st church, that is Russian Greek Catholic Church. In its conversion from paganism, Russia accepted Byzantine Christianity while still in full communion with Rome in 1988. The institutional Russian Catholic Church began the 19th century as the result of a movement involving Vladimir Soloviev and Reverend Nicholas Tolstoy. They believed the schism between Greeks and Latins never created any official break between Russia and Rome. In 1908, Pope Pius X appointed an apostolic exarchate. The decree from the Vatican Secretariat of State read this way: Therefore, His Holiness commands the aforementioned to observe the laws of the Byzantine Rite faithfully and in all their integrity, without any admixture from the Latin Rite or any other rite. He must also see that his subjects, clergy, and all other Catholics do the same. This is what the decree passed. Okay, we move on to the next one. Belarus. The Belarusian Catholic Church began in the Union of Brest in 1596 and became the state religion, but it was later suppressed by the Imperial Russia and again by Soviet Union. Strongly associated with Belarusian nationalism, it has no organized hierarchy. Albanian. Greek Catholic Church. The Apostle Paul preached in Illyricum and Titus preached in Dalmatia, both of which were found in modern day Albania. The first bishop was Caesarios, one of the 70 apostles. Sadly, Saint Apostles means those who were the disciples of Saint Paul and Titus. So they were apostles. Apostles, those who were sent, sent. So one of them. Sadly, most Albanians became Muslim during the Turkish conquest. Muslim. Both the Catholic and Orthodox churches were suppressed in 1967 when Albania was declared an atheist state. Atheist state became 1961. But religious buildings were closed. No services of any kind were permitted. But still they are keeping up with these ones. Then the last one we have Macedonian Greek Catholic Church. This doesn't require much of anything of the explanation. So here we end all the 24 churches, one of which is Latin Church, other 23 are Eastern Catholic churches. Okay, here we pause.